You're watching or listening to The Looking Forward Show on PhillyCam, WPPM LP, Philadelphia, 106.5 FM, or PhillyCam TV. You can also see us live streaming on Xfinity 66 and 966, on Bios TV 29 and 30, on Roku, Apple TV, and Facebook, as well as our YouTube channel. And now, here's your host, Jeffrey Abramowitz. To be here, and I am so excited. So first of all, I just getting off just an amazing show last week. We had some incredible guests. If you missed the show at all, you got to go to the Looking Forward Show, the YouTube channel, and you got to check out the music that was played last week because we just had a blast. And I'm here today and really excited about the show because number one, I got some really good friends on, and they're amazing in their own right. But we're all here celebrating one thing. And it's Second Chance Month in the United States. So I hold in my hand a proclamation. It was signed by the United States President of our United States, Joseph Biden, and it was signed March 31st and acknowledging Second Chance Month in our country. It kind of it's really humbling to see that we've progressed to a point where nationally we're recognizing the chances that men and women have coming home and some of the challenges and having this discussion, really trying to change the narrative about, getting people back into their communities, into their families. And we're going to hear all about that today, but I'm really excited about it. I do have a little bit of angst with the word second chances. And I want to bring this up right at the start. I'm going to use it throughout the day. I don't want to hear from everybody, why are you saying second chances? Because the angst I have about it is second chances infers that people had a first chance, right? And it also signifies that maybe you stop at a second chance. And we know that sometimes it's a third, fourth, fifth, sixth chance that you're going to need in order to really make a difference and help people that are having some challenges. So the way I look at it is if the government says we're going to recognize second chances, then let's recognize it, but let's recognize it in the right way. And I'm really excited to be here. We have some wonderful guests today, and the guests that we have are really going to be, they're doing this great work across the country. They're making sure that, people that are coming home from incarceration or jail, or people that have been touched by our justice system really are, they're getting the support that they need to make it happen. So you're listening to Philly Cam. We're on Philly Cam Radio, WPPM LP, Philadelphia 106.5. You can watch us on PhillyCam TV, live streaming on Xfinity 66, 96, Bios TV 29 and 30, Roku, Apple TV, and obviously on our YouTube Looking Forward channel. And you'll hear those calls throughout the show. But we hope you'll join us on a great journey today. We're going to start our show off coming down, and my friend Lou Narvaez is going to be on first. And he hasn't been on the last few weeks. I know he's been really busy. We're grateful that he's here today. And I always say we're bringing him on because he's breaking down some silos. So we're going to be right back and Looking Forward with Lou Narvaez. We are back, and my friend Lou Narvaez is in the house. How are you, Lou?
Hey, I'm great, Jeff. Thank you for having me. How you doing?
I am doing great. So
Good.
I just I saw you the other day at the call-in for Philadelphia that you always run, and it's an incredible event. We haven't talked for a little while, and I was hoping you can catch us up. For those that don't know, Lou is District Director of Pennsylvania Department of Probation and Parole. He really is the one breaking down silos in the department and making sure that his officers and the community know the purpose of probation and parole officers that they have and how they can work together with men and women that have been impacted by the system. So first of all, how are you?
I'm great. I'm just so grateful to be alive and be able to go out and do the things we do every day.
Awesome. Why don't you tell us, Lou, what's happening in your world?
Well, let me share with you some events that I think will be of particular interest to not only the population we service, but people in general. That first of all, parole has Pennsylvania Parole Board statewide has what we call CSAC, which is a Community Advisory Committee, and that committee is comprised of individuals who reflects the communities that we service from all different types of backgrounds, whether it be politically, socially, or economically, and they come together to bridge to build those bridges with those other community agencies that we deal with, and to help us in promoting our mission, which not only consists of public safety, but successful reintegration of the individuals that are reentrants by using data and keeping ourselves in line with policies and practices while doing so. And they're going to have an event, they being CSAC, Community Advisory Committee, on April 12th, which is a resource hub. And it's going to be in Philadelphia at the Calvary Christian Church, which is on East Roosevelt Boulevard, where they have different vendors participating, whether it's employment, housing, addressing all the various needs that our population has when they come back into the community. That's April 12th. And on April 21st, you have a multi-industry career fair that's being sponsored or being held at the Citizens Bank in Philadelphia. And they're going to have various vendors there that will be working with people from various backgrounds to try to give them the needed resources to help them with successful reentry as well. And finally, also not specific to our population, but to all citizens in Philadelphia and beyond, you have this medical pop-up clinic. And many of you may have heard of them in the past, where they go to various remote areas and help people who do not have medical insurance and help them with vision, dental, and medical needs. And they have licensed doctors, dentists, surgeons, whatever on hand. And this is going to be at the Convention Center on April 23rd and 24th. Now, all those events, Jeff, I've sent to you in the event that anyone wants to get more specific detail. If you share that with them, I'd appreciate it. So, and this all lines up in your topic today. And I agree with you about second chance in terms of the terminology, but we're going to get past the terminology and deal with what they offer. And when you look at chances that people have in life, you got to know the history of what's going on. This second chance started when many of you, and I'm dating myself, but it's in your history books, Watergate. We had what was known a political event that occurred, which actually puts to shame what's going on in the Senate and the Congress today, because the Watergate event, you had a Republican president that was asked by the Republican Party to step down because his actions was harmful to the country. And in that event, you had a Mr. Charles W. Colson. He was the White House, one of the White House main chief of staff. He was an attorney, and he was actually convicted in the Watergate event and did 7 months in the Alabama Maxwell prison. And while there, he began to question himself, and he began to look at his relationship to God, and he came to a decision that he wanted to help others find God and have people in the ministry minister to people incarcerated. So there you have the emergence, or the beginning of the emergence of this fellowship. And in 2017, the Prison Fellowship announced the Second Chance Month. For the first time, it became something that was announced. That's in 2017. Fast forward to today, as you stated, President Biden proclaimed Second Chance Month. And we have to offer, as the president said, meaningful opportunities for redemption and rehabilitation.
Absolutely.
That becomes something that we have constantly dealt with within the parole department. In the parole department, my position is real clear. My agents know this, and they are also they're advocates of reentry, is that everybody we deal with is an adult. Everybody we deal with has the right to be treated with dignity and respect. And everybody we deal with has to be treated in such a manner that will be conducive to them rehabilitating. Now, that does not become synonymous with, if you do not follow the conditions of your parole, that you won't be violated. What that translates into is that a violation is the last tool in the toolkit. We're going to give you the resources because we understand the challenges you face. We're going to help you if you want to be helped, but you have to want to be helped, because part of the issue that we're dealing with, especially in Philadelphia, with all the gun violence and all the homicides, is we're dealing with communities that are being held hostage. They're being held hostage. And for you to come back in the community, you must be able to work collaboratively with the community and be able to assimilate in a positive manner. And I know that presents challenges on many, many levels, because part of it is the mentality of some of the people who are reentrants, and some part of it is the mentality of some of the people that are in the community.
Yeah, and I agree. You got to be ready for it. And there's some people, and that's why the second chance kind of bothers me, because some people are not going to be ready for it right away. But when it comes to probation and parole across the country, we got to do a better job. We got to look at, it's a really, we put this string on it. Almost 50% of our population behind the walls are there on technical violations. So we got to figure out, you might have this attitude here in Pennsylvania, but across the country, not so much. And we really have to have these discussions across the board. And I appreciate, so I know I always want you to drop the mic when you get done talking, because you always do your homework when it comes to the show. And historically, yes, this is long overdue. We have to change this narrative across the country and everywhere we go. And I appreciate all the work that Pennsylvania is doing and our probation and parole officers are doing to try and make that happen.
And when you look at technical violations, you have to also look at the nature of the technical violation. If you're a reentrant and you're found with a weapon, okay, that's technical violation. You haven't used the weapon. You haven't shot anyone or killed anyone, but you're not to possess your weapon. But if you go to the root of the issue, why do you have a weapon?
Yeah.
Okay. Why do you have a weapon? Now, does that mean that we turn a blind eye to, how a person may have been socialized, the community, how they were socialized in prison? No. But part of the mission is also public safety. And I believe that's a state, a countrywide thing also. They have to look at the safety of the community, because the person that's coming back in the community, we want them to be able to fit in as a viable member of that community. You have women and children being killed today. Women and children being killed in the communities. The less weapons on the street, the better. Yeah. Somebody has a nickel bag of weed. I mean, no, come on. We'll take you through the prompts. We'll tell you, listen, this is what you need to do. If you have something, if you don't have a medical marijuana card, let's go talk about some treatment. You shouldn't be really smoking joint. But the police don't even lock up people in Philadelphia for like a joint or two joints.
Lou,
but are we supporting or endorsing the use of marijuana? No.
Lou, if you had one piece of advice, Lou, for men and women that are coming home, what's your number one thing you got to tell them?
That you have to believe in yourself, because reentry doesn't start outside in the outside world. It starts within yourself.
Love it.
You have to be a firm believer that you can do, because you're going to not only face the barriers in the external world, you're going to face the frustration of being on the street and trying to do the right thing. And if you're not accustomed to doing the right thing, it's difficult. But if you believe in yourself, you can do the right thing. It won't be easy, because the road to redemption is not easy for any of us.
Good stuff. Lou, it's a pleasure having you on. I hope you'll hang on there for a little bit, but we have some other guests I want to get to today. And again, thank you for taking time out. And you always come prepared. And we know that, you're doing what you need to do in order to continue to break down those silos in our community. And we're hoping word's getting out around the country too, that, there needs to be more of the Lou Narvaez's in probation and parole across the country doing this kind of work. So thank you so much. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to be back with John Ponder coming up. And if you don't know about John, you will in a minute, but you don't want to miss Hope for Prisoner and his story. We'll be right back. A Looking Forward show. Back at the Looking Forward show. I have my friend John Ponder on. John, how are you?
I am doing terrific. Jeff, how are you?
I am doing great. So you should know John is CEO of Hope for Prisoners in Las Vegas, Nevada. I had a chance to go out and see their old place a few years ago. John was appointed by the governor, Brian Sandoval, into the Nevada Sentencing Commission in 2017, appointed to the governor's Reentry Task Force, U.S. Commission on Civil Rights, Nevada State Advisory Committee in 2016. He's a commissioner with Nevada Commission on Post-Secondary Education. He's a chaplain, so we need to watch our words. But also, John in 2020 was granted a pardon from the state of Nevada, as well as a full presidential pardon from the president of the United States at the time, Donald Trump. John, I think that's an amazing story in and of itself. But first of all, thank you for being on the show. And I was wondering if you could share a little bit about your background, a little more than I went into, and a little bit about Hope for Prisoners.
Absolutely, Jeff, and thank you so much. So I'll just give you a elevator. You know, grew up in New York, product of a single parent home. Dad left home at a very early age, leaving mom raising 5 knucklehead boys and 1 knucklehead girl all by herself. And growing up in that environment, my story, not much like the other stories in urbans and communities across that country. Growing up without a father, we turned to the streets to validate masculinity. The streets led me to the drugs. Drugs led me to the gangs. Gangs led me to criminal activity. That criminal activity led me to my very first set of handcuffs at the tender age of 12 years old. And life just kind of spiraled out of control from there, in and out of different juvenile systems and county jails and prison systems, until I found myself in the maximum security United States Federal Penitentiary in Allenwood, Pennsylvania, as a matter of fact. And look back over the last 37 years of my life, just, knowing that there's got to be more to life than what I've been living. If somehow something was different, I prayed to God in a prison cell, asked him to, transform my life, and 100% he did turn my life in a 180-degree turn in the other direction, and laid this mantle on my life to turn right back around and help the other men and women who were facing those same challenges that I had to face, and to do everything I can to remove the barriers that is preventing them from getting up to the next level of life. So founded Hope for Prisoners back in 2009. When I came home from prison. And since that time, we've been working with men, women, and young adults that are exiting different arenas of our judicial system to provide those supportive services to help them to successfully reintegrate back into their home, back into the workplace, and ultimately for them to be stand-up leaders outside in the community.
Yeah, I was out there. I visited your program. What a remarkable place. So first of all, everybody was really warm, but the facility itself was amazing. And I understand you just moved into a new building recently, correct?
Yes, that is correct. We moved into a 15,000 square foot facility, centrally located to where our folks are going to very easily be able to get to. And we're really excited about the facility because of the collaborating partners that we're going to have in-house that our participants are going to be able to have direct access to. So not only do we have all of our case managers and substance abuse counselors and mentor coordinators here on site, but we built out, Jeff, 6 different classrooms where we're not only going to be teaching all the leadership development and social skills, but we're also bringing in all the vocational training under one roof. So we'll be training folks into HVAC, plumbing, air conditioning, CDL. We built a computer lab. We have a simulated CDL training here for them as well. And in addition to that, what I'm really, really excited about is our other 2 collaborating partners is that the College of Southern Nevada is planting a satellite campus within our 4 walls so that we can give our folks that we're working with an opportunity to pursue the academic track or be able to go on that vocational track so we can tie whatever training that they're going to receive into sustainable wage jobs. And I was so excited the conversation that Lou was having just now, because we have a partnership with Nevada Parole and Probation to where Nevada Parole and Probation has given me 3 parole officers and 1 probation officer that is going to be embedded inside our new facility. And that excites me because now that brings the parole officer to the table with the case manager and substance abuse counselor and mentor coordinator and job developer to make sure that our folks are engaged and moving forward.
So you know the saying, it takes a village. There's your village right there, right there. You got them all right at the table. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
You know, I was on Tuesday, this past week, I was on a show that you had. It's called The Huddle. And every Tuesday you bring a whole bunch of people together from your organization around the country, but you also brought in a whole room of inmates from one of the local facilities, and they got to ask questions after I got done talking. And I mentioned this off air before we got on. I was so hyped up when I got done. I was so energized at the ability just to connect with some of the men that were on the call and answer their questions about coming back and dealing with a job and figuring out what next steps are. Definitely, they were all looking for chances coming home, and they were excited about the opportunity and asked some really good questions. Tell us about the Huddle, if you could.
Yeah, so with our huddle, we do it every Tuesday evening. And what we do is we bring together everybody in the reentry community, right? We bring together some of our graduates that may have graduated last month, and some have graduated 10 years ago. And every Tuesday night, we do that. We huddle up. And it's an opportunity for us, Jeff, to make sure that the reentry community is connecting. We bring in, mentors. We bring in police officers. We bring in parole officers. And then we invite great leaders like yourself from all over the country to come in and just share some leadership principles. You know, we love to be able to have those folks with lived experiences to tell their story about where they came from, where they are today, but more importantly, share some leadership nuggets that the leader use in order for them to get to where they are in life. We are so privileged to be able to stream it live into the Nevada Department of Corrections and also into the Clark County Detention Center to the folks that we are working with, because we work with them up to 18 months prior to them being released, going into the system and training them with all those things that I just named on the outside. We do that also on the inside in the facilities. So when they're able to hear the stories and the testimonies of the people who have been right where they are and where they are today, I believe that right there gives them hope and is the wind beneath their wings that's going to help shift them off into a whole another destiny of life.
Good stuff. Good stuff. You are also, we are also connected through Just Leadership USA. We both are Just Leadership fellows, and that was a meaningful start for me when I got in there. So, yeah, it's a great program as well. John, I'm thankful that you're here. And if you had, you do this work all the time. You see so many people that come through your doors, but what's the one nugget you'd like to leave our audience that may be impacted by the system? What do you want them to know?
Right. So as far as the folks who are just coming home, one of the big things that I had to learn early on that I wish I would have was aware of this then, and maybe my life would not have gone down the road that it gone down. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Right. Sometimes we get this pride built up inside of us. We want to do it on our own. But if you ask anybody who has ever achieved any significant level of success in life, how did you get there? How did you get to where you are in life? If they're completely honest with you, they did not. They'll tell you that they did not get there by themselves, that they had people in their lives that was guiding, directing, push, pulling, dragging, and sometimes kicking them in the rear end every single step of the way. So make sure that you find that support system and be able to, to ask for help.
Awesome. That's great advice. Great advice. John, thank you. If we wanted to reach out and get some more information on Hope for Prisoners, how can we reach you?
Absolutely. You can reach us at www.hopeforprisoners.org. And if you click on our calendar, you'll see all the amazing events that we're doing for the month of Second Chances, where we really want to honor the men and women who have been to prison, that paid their debt to society and out in the community and truly fighting for a second chance, and also honor our second chance employers that are giving our folks employment at sustainable wage jobs.
Awesome. John, it's great having you. I hope you're going to hang in there for a little bit. We're going to do some roundtable in a little bit, but I got some other guests I want to bring on as well. You're listening to Looking Forward, WPPM LP, Philadelphia 106.5, and on Philly Cam TV. And we're going to be right back. Looking Forward. The Looking Forward show. So I have to be honest. I've been John he's a friend, and I was so grateful that he spent some time with us, and we're going to get him back on in a few minutes. But there's been a young man that's been sitting to my left, and I want to bring him on because he's going to co-host with me for a little bit, and we're going to talk. Stephen Head, how are you?
How you doing? My name is Stephen Head, the creator of Moose Garden of Life. I want to thank Mr. Jeff for bringing me on. I want to thank Miss Stephanie Costas, Executive Director for the Boys and Girls Club, for introducing me, Mr. Jeff.
There you go. He's got it all down pat already. He's gonna be hanging in there. He's not gonna tell a story yet because I got some other people. I want him here because I want him sitting by my side so he can listen and jump in when he needs to. But there's some people on this call that I really want to get to. And the first is a good friend, somebody that I've looked up to, and I know so the other guest is a she, but there's two she's waiting to get on, but the one guest is a good friend. Nigel Bowe. Nigel is the Executive Director of Reentry Services, Reentry and Diversion Services for Jeff's Human Services. Nigel, how are you?
Good, Jeff. How are you? Thanks for having me on.
No, it's great to have you on. And, I couldn't think of a better person to have on for Second Chance Month because, so much of the work you do is about working with people that need that opportunity and that chance. I want to tell everybody a little bit about the work that you do.
Well, yeah, thank you. So I am the Executive Director of Diversion and Reentry Services at Jeff's Human Services. I oversee a diversion program called The Choice Is Yours, which is a diversion program for 18 to 24-year-olds, first-time nonviolent offenders that have all been arrested and charged with possession with the intent to distribute. If they're able to take the program instead of taking their case to trial, and if they complete the program, their case gets dismissed. If they go 1 year without arrest, they're able to have their case become eligible for expungement. So during the program, which is a 1 year program, we provide life skills, job readiness, cognitive behavior training, and each and every one of our clients are assigned an employment advisor that's helping them find out what they really want to do with their life and hopefully define a career that they would like to go into. And so, that is helping us, stop that vicious cycle of individuals recidivating and going back into the system. And then the other program, of course, which you're very familiar with, I just started overseeing the Looking Forward program, which is the Jeff's Human Service Reentry program, Looking Forward Philadelphia. And that program, of course, serves individuals 18 and over that have been impacted or touched by the criminal justice system in any shape, form, or fashion, or have had some form of incarceration, whether it be county, state, or federal. So that's pretty much what I've been doing the last 33 years. I've been with Jeff's 20 years, and it's just been a great ride. And I'm just, I feel like I'm blessed to be in a position to be able to do the work that I do.
Yeah, we're just blessed to have you, Nigel. You do so your passion, and just when you see the interaction, whether you're in a courtroom and you're standing up for somebody that needs some support, or just people that walk into the Looking Forward program and being able to meet their needs and try to guide them, but also accepting where they are. And you just have you have this passion. You've been doing it for so long. You have to. You need to give us a little bit, like, what's the secret sauce? You've been doing this work. Like, what do people need to know coming home that will keep them on the right path and get them on that journey to whatever?
Well, being in the pre-entry space and the re-entry space, I really liked what Lou said. I really think, being able to provide these individuals with hope. Everyone on the call knows, some of the things that our individuals have been faced with, the traumas they've been exposed to, some of the things that, unfortunately, they've had to be involved with, in a very young age. And so the secret sauce for us is just being able to create those very honest and open and sincere relationships between our clients and the staff. Which has allowed, individuals to, again, be able to really express their needs and again, expose themselves and sort of open up their book to us so that we can, again, be able to identify their needs and then identify the best resources that fits their needs. But it's the relationship building. And I think, again, just us being able to let these individuals know that we generally care for them and that we're here for them in every shape, form, or fashion.
No, it's so true. And, you know, I always talk, you know, when I'm talking to probation parole officers and people working in the system, you know, they talk about risk needs assessment. And I was like, you know, let's throw the risk part out of it. Let's talk about, what do you really need? Like, exactly. What do you need to be successful, and how can we help you get there? And that's that to me is got to be front and center in all of these discussions. So I appreciate, Nigel, all the work you're doing. If somebody wanted to reach the Looking Forward program, how could they go about doing it?
So you can reach the Looking Forward program. We are on the JEBS Human Services website at jebshumanservices.org. And you also could call in. We have a, let me find it. We have a phone number you can call in. If you have any questions at 267-621-0375. We are located in the city of Philadelphia at 1526 Cecil B. Moore. We have a walk-in policy. You can walk in, fill out a referral form, and that would be Monday through Friday from 9 to 4. But yeah, and you know, we receive referrals through the Department of Corrections, BCC, but also again we have a walk-in policy. So we get our website you can also access through.
Good stuff. Nige, hang out there for us. We want to talk a little bit more with you as we go along a little bit. And I want to now just jump on to, I introduced him, so I got to at least have him say a word or two. So Stefan, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do and a little bit of your background so people know.
Okay. Thank you again for having me on. My name is Stefan Head. I'm from Atlantic City, New Jersey. I created Spreading Healing. It's called Moose Garden of Life. I do it in the form of flowers and trees. I take our heroes and pillars of the community that's living and perish, and I honor them by using flowers and trees. For example, I take a loved one and find out what their favorite color is, their favorite personality, or what they wanted to be. I will present the family members with a tree and flower packet, and they would pick a roseberry bush, a oak tree. It's a direct connection between the loved one and the deceased. The garden is just a picture. The garden comes with programs called the Octopus Theory. You got to touch the people. One program out the garden is called I Am My Brother's Keeper, teaching parents and kids honorable traits. For some reason, people today forgot about the honor. Another program in the garden is called Mother to Mother. This program is based off my mother. When my mother lost her child, my brother, no one was there to catch her. So now my mother has pain, but now that pain is 20 years of experience. So I want to take all the mothers around the world and make them counselors. So when that new mother have to go through what they went through, that new mother have a support team of other mothers to catch her. Another program out the garden is called Overcoming War. It's sad, but a lot of people that come from where I come from, the crime-infested, trauma, pain, residential areas, we go through the same thing that the war veterans go through. We got PTSD, we got anxiety, we can't sleep. We need to be treated fair, just like a war veteran.
Oh, all right. See, he's going to go on for all week, and he's got, trust me, he could, but I just want to tell people though, you were just as impacted, correct?
Yes.
And how long you been home?
I've been home for 3.5 years. I came home a dishwasher, and to piggyback off the, I think his name was Mr. Jeff and the parole guy. I came home a dishwasher. I told my parole officer I wanted to become a CDL driver. My parole officer didn't look at me like a number. He looked at me like a human being. He had his CDL. He helped me get my CDL. Parole officer to inmate treated me like a human being, and now I am a successful trash truck driver. Thank you, Mr. Wilhelm.
There you go. So first of all, I went down to see you down in Atlantic City. We spent a great day together, and we went and did look at your garden, which in the wintertime wasn't so great because nothing was blooming yet, but I got the idea and can't wait to go down as things I'm sure now are really good. But these gardens are beautiful, and each garden, each bush that's in there has a little placard on it, a little chain around it, and it has somebody that was killed from gun violence.
Yes, so our flowers and trees have name plaques that represent the people that was killed in gun violence, drug overdose, or just life. You could drown, or you could be still living. But we take the tree, we honor them with a plaque with their name, and then we have a healing celebration with bubbles, balloons. We stay away from the word memorial and cemetery. When a parent goes to the memorial cemetery to pay respects, they leave feeling gloomy. At my garden, you still gonna cry, but it has a serenity, calmer feel to it.
Yeah, it's great too, because not only is it a garden, but you use it for community purposes. There's movies there, movie nights there. There's community activities that are there.
We do book bag drives. We gave away 100 bikes for Christmas, 400 scooters. We just want to spread healing. We just want to spread the healing.
Love it. Love it. So, Stefan, you said something to me when I last saw you that touched me more than anything. You said, we were talking about the work that you do as a sanitation driver, and I was amazed. You took such pride in the work that you did and that you do every day. And you drive, and you actually, and it's true. If you think about it, what would our society be like if we didn't have people that were around, doing sanitation work and really making sure our neighborhoods were clean and protected? But you took it an extra yard, and this what really sticks out in my head is you started taking notes down. Like when they go by a basketball court in a community and it didn't have a basket, a net, and they write down all these things, and he'd take it back to his employer and say, this basketball court needs a net. Yes. And this and all these different things that are broken in the community, you take back there and you get donations to try and fix.
Yes. So for me, driving the trash truck and sitting up high and having a good view of the communities, I start seeing things that need to be fixed in the community. So I wanted to be more a part of the communities that I'm cleaning up, literally picking up trash. So I took this idea to my boss, shout out the gold medal, Mr. John, and I created a program called the Community Ambassador Program, where if the trash truck driver or the helper sees something that's in need, we take a note, take it back, and then we try to help the community.
There you go. So is there any doubt why Stefan is sitting next to me right now? He is just full of life. And he is what Second Chance is all about in this country. It's about recognizing that sometimes it takes a little bit for people to get it. And he did his journey, and now, man, he's making change happen. And he wants to get something else in, and I ain't stopping him. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Jeff. I didn't even know it was Second Chance Month until Mr. Jeff told me. I take pride of. I get what he said. Yeah, I don't like the second chance neither, but I am a second chance example. One of my programs in the garden is called the Butterfly Effect. I was a caterpillar, a thug, slipping and sliding on these streets. They locked me up, put me in my cocoon, prison. In this cocoon, I remember my self-worth, and I sharpened my tools. I had time to sit down. When I came home rejuvenated, resharpened. Again, I started as a dishwasher, and then I elevated to a trash truck driver, and then God took me to become a business owner of Moose Garden of Life. The Butterfly Effect. They call us criminals. They call us thugs. When we get older, we still gonna have that same ambition, that same drive. What are you gonna do with it when you get older? If you was a tough guy in the street when you was young, but you still tough now as an adult, start your own security firm. You get what I'm saying? If you was a hustler back in the day and now you still got the same drives, sell t-shirts, start a business. We can still be the same people we was when we young, but maturer. Ignorant minds. We are not ignorant minds.
I gotta tell you, my mouth just dropped, because all we need to do is to put that to some music, and you got a rap song right there. It's great stuff. So, Stefan, thank you for being here. Hang out. Don't move.
Thank you.
Don't move. We're gonna get there. But we got two more amazing guests, and we're gonna roundtable some questions, and we're gonna be right back. This is the Looking Forward Show. into the Philly Cam Radio, WPPM LP, Philadelphia 106.5 FM, and Philly Cam TV live streaming to Xfinity 66, 96, Fios TV 29 and 30, Roku, Apple TV. And if you missed any part of the show, especially the last few seconds, you need to get on to our YouTube channel, The Looking Forward Show. And Basha, how are you? Our next guest.
Great to see you, and thanks for having me on your show. And Stefan, hands up to you as a mother. That just speaks to me right to my heart. So you're doing incredible things. Thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I will tell you, Basha, you are, we've worked together. We've known each other for a few years, and I want to give you some space to tell your story a little bit so the audience knows who they're talking to.
Thanks, Jeff. So I too am a system impacted person. I am recently reentering my own community. I was indicted back in 2018 and then was given a 30-month sentence for a nonviolent crime. Luckily, through the CARES Act, I was able to complete my sentence back at home, and then also working here in St. Louis, which allowed me to persevere through many of the barriers that we face as people who've been through the carceral system. So while being incarcerated, my eyes were opened to so many things, so many women who gone through traumatic experiences, who may have not necessarily had education or a life that I was blessed with. And so I took that time while being away to focus my time and energy in the education department. And then after leaving, I felt like that was my new place in life. And I was again blessed to find a position at St. Patrick's Center as a workforce development case manager, and then also working for P2P, which is a national organization focused on education and workforce development. We're in over 34 states, and our main focus is to provide capacity and access to people who are wanting to grow, whether it's in education, whether it's in training. But the main goal is to provide people with a support network. I know someone was talking about, what's that secret sauce? And in my experience, people who've been able to persevere through situations like this have been blessed with a support network, with people who are there, who are opening doors for you, who are providing opportunities that maybe you were told you were not worthy of. So being in this space and having some of these doors open only give me more motivation and passion to do that for other people.
Good stuff. So I want to bring somebody else on too. So you're not local. You're not in the East Coast. You're in.
I'm in St. Louis, Missouri. So I'm in the Midwest. I'm in the middle.
They're right in the middle. So I want to bring another guest in too, because I want to add her to the stream and talk. Naisha Maza is with Harcum College and criminal justice, and she's done some great work. But I asked her to come on, first of all, because I know that we're never going to give her enough time. And she promised that she's going to come on again because we're going to do a whole show on families. And Naisha, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey?
So I am a child of a formerly incarcerated individual, my father. He's actually the reason why I became a criminal justice major, because I seen how the criminal justice system had impacted my father, especially with reentry. And he was just like my driving force for basically doing the work that I do. I volunteered for several reentry organizations. That's how I met Jeff. And now, I have been blessed with, I guess, enlightening future criminal justice professionals. So I run a day and night program at Harcum College for criminal justice. And in a lot of our classes, we do case study analysis. I give them examples, and we follow people through, like, how would you interact with this person? I've done criminal justice career fairs, and I've also told my students, my story and how people don't realize, it impacts the family. Like, I remember when my dad was incarcerated, I acted out a lot. And as a girl, Jeff, you have a daughter,
I do.
I acted out a lot to get his attention because that was my immature mindset, thinking, oh, this is going to make him come home sooner. But my dad and I are like very, very close. I feel like he always knows what I'm thinking before I think it. And I just really appreciate all the work you've done. But the one thing I want to get out there is that, families are impacted. I was blessed to ask for help, And I want a lot of times in a lot of families, there are two unspoken words that are not allowed to be, the kids are not allowed to bring up: mental illness and incarceration. That's a problem. And so then you have all of these kids with all this bottled up anger, not having an outlet. And then what ends up happening is they end up being a part of the wrong crowd or finding love somewhere else and end up being a part of the system. And then it becomes a vicious cycle. So my hope is to connect with my students, these future criminal justice professionals, to help people and not label them. You know.
Awesome. Good stuff. Yeah, we're not defined by some of the worst choices we've ever made in our lives, nor shall we ever be. But I wanted the two of you on in particular because I wanted people to understand that when someone's justice impacted, that often it's the families that bear the largest burden of that incarceration and that time away. You know, when you're in prison, you know, you get 3 square meals a day. They may not be very good, but you get them. You have a roof over your head. You don't have to pay any bills, right? You don't have to decide what to wear or when to get up or when to go to sleep. You don't have any decisions really at all, and it falls on the families most of the time on the outside. And I know both of you had families that were directly impacted. Basha, I know you had 2 daughters who went through some challenges, although they probably gratefully won't remember a single part of it. That's, but yeah, it's really hard.
I think a part of that experience will stick with them forever. And luckily, it's given them the drive to become stronger and more mindful and sensitive to people who've been in the same space. You know, visiting me in the visiting center, they saw so many families that were separated, who had conversations for just a sweet moment and then had to, you know, go away and leave their mom. And I think that was the most difficult part for them, in addition to not, you know, spending holidays or birthdays or, you know, special moments and so forth. But I think what people don't realize, and, you know, of course I never knew, is that communication costs. We may not have bills while we're away, but you have to pay for those phone calls. And I mean, it was like 35 cents a minute to call home. And how do you get that kind of money when, you know, you're away and you don't have that kind of income coming in to pay for it? So, again, if you have a support system, family and friends that can, you know, pay for those services, you're very lucky. But many times many of the women did not have that opportunity. And, you know, the best way I could compare this to is COVID, right? When you don't have that communication, when you don't have that touch point, when you don't have your loved ones around you, there's more chances of trauma, right? You kind of go into those patterns, into that loss, and you don't know how to necessarily express yourself.
Yeah, it's hard.
That can be difficult, and that can be difficult.
Can be really hard, especially those little things like even commissary. You know, the charges that you get from a commissary in prison are usually they're so outrageous. Just for simple sneakers, usually 3 times the price you would pay outside of prison, and it's just their way. But what I think the failure of the system is to recognize that it's the families on the outside that are actually flipping that bill when they can. And that's the big challenge. Naisha, if you had some advice for young people who have moms or dads that are away, what would you want to tell them?
You're not alone. Ask for help. It's okay to talk about incarceration. It's okay. What your parents did not have anything to do with you. They're there because they made a bad choice, but doesn't define who they are. It doesn't define who you are. You are a person. You are loved, you know?
Good stuff. Good stuff. So I want to bring everybody back in for a minute. I'm not sure if John can grab on, but that's okay. If John picks up, we'll get him in. You guys are, there you go. We got everybody in the loop now. So you guys are all the experts. You're doing amazing work. You are what this celebration is all about, a recognition, changing the narrative. And I want to change the narrative right now because I really want people to understand and to wear the glasses of the four of you who are doing this kind of work, five, including Stefan. The work that what is it that we want people to understand about coming home? We know there's so many challenges, but what are the things that could make a big difference to people coming home? And I'll kick it off because I think for me it was kind of just a recognition. I call it making the invisible visible. Just a recognition that you were home. Like, not many people reached out when I was home because they really didn't know what to say. They lost touch while I was away for 5 years and didn't know how to address that. But just a recognition that, hello, how you doing? Welcome home. And every single person that I come across that they tell me they just came home or came home last year. So welcome home is the first thing out of my mouth. It's having some of that humanity back. But I was hoping maybe you guys could share some of the things that are important for people to know about the reentry journey and coming back. Anybody, open it up.
Well, I think there's an incredible amount of stigma and judgment associated with incarceration. And, society is fearful of it because you don't know what you don't know. And in these circumstances, people kind of back away from you. And I think what you're doing, Jeff, by saying welcome home and providing an inclusive environment doesn't only help the person who's incarcerated, but the whole family, because it's that whole unit that needs to be reintegrated. And if you want that community to survive and to be whole, it needs to be treated as such.
Good stuff.
And I think that I'm glad that we're talking. I'd like to make 2 points. I'm glad we're talking about the family component because the family reintegration is something that has been a missed mark in reentry since forever. Right? No one's ever given a particular close attention to the men and women that are returning back to the community, that they need to return back home, the wives and the husbands, and particularly to get reintegrated with their children. So it's important that we bring in that marriage family therapist component to make sure that the home life is not right, because if that's not right, then everything else in the world has a tendency to fall apart. And one of the things that we really need to understand is that the vast majority of people from this segment of the population, they really do want to change, but they have no idea how to do it. So for so long, we've been telling people from this segment of the population to get back in the community, become a productive member of society, but they have no healthy reference point up in here of what that might look like. Right. So with those of us who are the boots on the ground that have been there and done that, we have an obligation to make sure that we are providing them with these tools, but also be able to attach them to our belt loop to help them to navigate the different challenges that they're going to be facing during this reintegration process.
Absolutely. Great point. Nigel?
Yeah, I was just going to say, and I'm going to piggyback off of what John says, is that individuals, that are returning need to know that, coming home is going to be a process and it's not going to happen overnight. And that, if you have, things laid out and you have a plan and you have been able to prioritize the things that you need, is that you're going to have to be able to, at least organize and structure whatever it is that you need to do. And so that you understand that whatever you need is not going to happen overnight. It's going to have to be a process. It's going to have to take some time. You're going to have some patience, but throughout all of that, you're going to have to keep a level of confidence in yourself, and just remain motivated, and then have those people surrounded by you that can create that positive support system, and know your boundaries and know, again, what people, places, and things, again, that could be contributing to you to recidivate or relapse or whatever the case may be. But just understanding that reintegrating back into the family, into the community is a process. It's not going to happen overnight. And that, as long as I think you remain, focused on your plan, that you'll be okay.
Yeah, every day. And
I also think too, like having the counseling before the parent gets out with the children, making sure the children and the families are seeking counseling before all of this transition happens, so that when they come out, they're ready to talk to that parent. They're ready to communicate what's going on and how they're feeling.
That's a great point.
A lot of times the kids are so confused about everything that's going on. You know, the spouses are confused about everything that's going on, and everything is just like there presented to them. And now they have to figure it all out, and it can be overwhelming.
Yes.
Absolutely. We're gonna unpack that in the whole show. I promise you that.
And I don't know the nice lady name, but she was talking about the stigma. All right, so for myself, yeah, we they call us criminals. You go on job interviews, they're gonna tell you no, they're gonna look at you funny, but it's up to us to not get discouraged. It's up to us to protect our energy and stay in our lane. A lot of people come home, and it's true, but like sometimes family will rock your boat. You might give your child's mother $20. She might say that's not enough. You have to be confident in yourself and look yourself in the mirror and tell yourself, you feel me? Even though she don't say it, tell yourself that is enough. I'm going to provide more. We cannot get discouraged out here. We already know we're going to have problems. Coming home from jail is just a bigger boulder. We cannot get discouraged. We got to take it like a badge of honor. We strong. We built Fort Tough. We was literally in a box, literally, and then came home. And to the people that was in a box like me, you can't. I want to salute everybody that was in a box and came home with their sanity.
Yeah, it's so true. You know, that's one of the things that I say, and I think anyone that's done time away knows that there's a special kind of bond. It's not until, look, a lot of places I talk to, they're men and women that have been justice impacted, but it's not until I tell them that I did time away that all of a sudden the connection happens. Like everybody knows living in prison is hard. It's hard mentally. It's hard, physically. You have to, and you come home and you think everything's gone like the Willy Wonka's golden tickets there. It doesn't work that way, right? It doesn't work that way. It's re-entry is a process. It takes time, and it takes all of you. It takes all of the efforts of each and every one of you that's on this call today. I just want to swing it around. We got a minute and a half or 2 minutes left, but John, start us off. If we want to get Hope for Prisoners, get information on you, where are we going to go?
Certainly. You can reach us at hopeforprisoners.org. That's FOR, hopeforprisoners.org, or our telephone number is 702-586-1371.
Awesome. Nigel, where are we going? We want to see Looking Forward and TCY Diversion Program.
So you can find both programs at jebshumanservices.org. If you want to get in touch directly to TCY, you could call 267-238-3959. Looking Forward, you can also call directly at 267-238-3951.
Basha, give us a little bit. How are we going to get hold of you?
So my first and last name is not very easy, but best way to reach me is from prison cells to PhD or professional. My email is Basha, BASIA, @prisontopro.org. And look forward to connecting with everyone.
Awesome.
And you can find me on LinkedIn as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We'll make sure we post on it too. Naisha, Maza, tell us a little bit. How do we get hold of you?
Well, two ways. You can actually go to www.harcum.edu, and you can also look me up on employee directory. I'm sorry. And also we have a department website to learn more about our criminal justice program, which is day and night offered to students. And they can reach me at 610-526-62. Wait, I'm sorry. I got pregnancy brain.
That's okay.
I'm so sorry, I forgot.
We'll get it out there. We'll get it out there. Stefan, last call.
If you want to get in contact with Moose Garden of Life, we are on Facebook, Moose Garden, Instagram, Moose Garden. Our email is Moose Garden.
Love it.
609-453-6509 if you would like to have a garden.
There you go. We love it.